$5,000. Cash payment to anyone who can prove that what lying son of a devil Farra-Con is preaching is consistent with the lessons, supreme wisdom, of Master Fard Muhammad Elijah Muhammad's representation of his teacher Master Fard's teachings.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. To my Rahim here, Message of Covenant. Brothers and sisters, never in history, entire history, especially in the last 6,000 years, according to Elijah Muhammad, this day has been in planning for 35,000 years. 50,000 years. Anyway, the bottom line is, in effect, 6,000 years. This day, restoration, revival, day of reckoning, day of justice. Never in history has the truth been so clear, so plain. We have all the scriptures talking about past situations, past experience, give all kinds of examples. We have this whole book called Exodus. What Exodus means, get the hell out of here, Exodus, exit. And it's clear that it's talking about us. It's clear. Because you see in the scriptures that when the people that pretend to be Israel, they're confronted with the person you call Jesus, they say, hey, we ain't never been in captivity. So that doesn't apply to us. And he told them, you're not even Abraham's seed. So it's a situation that you can apply to anybody in history. No one. No one in history can say that was them. Even if you try to say false Israel was them, you say, okay, it says that they were going to captivity in ships. You don't need ships to go into captivity from Egypt into Palestine, into Egypt. You don't need ships for that. You just cross the border. You don't need ships to go here to Canada. Just walk across the border. So how were they enslaved there 400 years? All they got to do is cross the border out of slavery. Their home was right next. Egypt definitely wasn't a strange land to them. I mean, Kansas is not a strange land to us. I mean, we know we may not have been here, but it's not a strange land, not strange people. Then they're trying to tell you. So no matter how you come at it, and like I say, they said straight up, it's not them. So we know it's us. Everything 400 years. We came here in ships, been oppressed, afflicted, enslaved, around strange people. The people in Egypt was not strange. If you go and look at it, Abraham, he spent time in Egypt. And the story is according to the scriptures, right? The person you call Jesus, he grew up in Egypt. It wasn't a strange land to them. That's it. Abraham, he moved, he went to Egypt, stayed there for a while. And his wife. So there's no way you can say that belongs to them. So if it's not them, who is it? And we have all the credentials. Elijah Muhammad came with all the credentials. So Exodus is a clear map, a clear outline, guideline, what if you will. And if you follow Exodus, you can't go wrong. Because Exodus is playing out exactly like it says. It's not exactly like it says. So why are people confused, deceived? Because the depth of this, the wisdom of this, is like, I try to explain it, it's like a culling. We only want those who can, that's wiser than this world's like, put it that way. Because how are they going to make a new world if they come with the same wisdom of this world? People are wiser than this world. They're wiser this world over. And as the Quran says, I meant to print that. It says those disbelieve it's been like them with you one on one, not they won't believe. They trapped. Their mindset is trapped. Their mind, it's not their mind because the mind can be changed. But they trapped here. They would be nothing but a burden to us when we get home. And no one will let it say judgment was unjust because they were up. You had a map, how come you didn't take it? It was very clear. So they can't say anything. Nobody say, well, man, you hard to know. You're clear. The map is so clear. They made it so clear. And as Muhammad said, it's so clear, eat a fool in the earth. It's so clear. So in other words, if you err, that means you're a fool, and we don't want you. Because the path is so clear. I mean, it's amazing. There's never been any clear. I mean, people that Sodom, Gomorrah, all these people, they never had as clear as this. And then you have someone give you clear. And the thing is so easy because you already paid the price. You don't have to, nobody's asking for any money. Nobody's asking you to do anything. Just want to go home and start preparing for it. That's all. He says that. But this world's got you you got so anchored in this world, called a gravitational vortex, you can't escape it. And that means you will be of no value to the new world. You'll be of no value to us. You'll be handicapped. You'll be like somebody we call retarded, put in a cage someplace because you could not handle it. It's too confusing for you. And we're not going to be doing that. There'll be no mentally retarded people in paradise. No, not one. Nowhere. There'll be no children born that way. So that's why it says, many should be called, but few chosen. So for those who love this world like there's no portion for them here, none, zero. And any that happens to get there, like I said, everlasting shame and appallment. That means you're in a cage. If everybody's ashamed and appalled at you, they're not going to let you walk around amongst them. They're ashamed and appalled. They're not going to let you walk around amongst them stinking and funky and stupid and ignorant. They're not going to let you walk around, but they're going to put you away. They do this in this world's life. Even how bad these people are, even if you, an insult, stinking, everything else, that's what might happen. So you better off just staying here. So I see people that get, you don't understand. We didn't come here to get followers. We didn't come here to save anybody. Actually, we came here to give you information. You have to save yourself. All this do for others. You have to do for yourself. We get information to do for yourself. You have to save yourself. You can't do anything for anybody else if you can't take care of yourself. That's your choice. So whatever happens is your choice. If you don't make it, it's because you choose it. Because we're going to talk about that today. When I was going to talk about change my mind, I'm going to talk about this Exodus because it's so clear, so simple. So clear, so simple. So you look around and say, once you understand, then you see who's the ones that's trying to restrain it, going to block it, distort it. Because they're changing the way they're trying to change it. Right? It tells you very clearly who everyone is and what they'll be doing. And all thing here. How come those people over there, they look, they're totally aware of this. And they never stepped up, never peeped. Why wouldn't they? Why would they shut me down? Why would they prove? I mean, why would they come get $5,000? If he's doing what he says he's doing, he's representing Elijah Muhammad. It should be easy to prove that. He can't, because he's not. And that's now for years, and they have not, nobody stepped forward, not even a peep. Get that. If you listen to this, how come you don't step forward and get it? If you listen to this, how come you don't step forward and get your $5,000? It should make a fool out of me, or make a liar out of me because I don't pay up. Why not? Everything's so clear, so perfect. So people that falls or don't make it, or stumbles, that's on them. They have no excuse. We're not in the movie accepting excuses nowadays.
Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement? And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
It's clear they do it every week. Distort, lie. They start in the name of Allah, and then proceed to lie, 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 lie. And we can prove it. I wish they would offer me $5,000 to prove they tell and prove they lying. I'd be multimillionaire. Because everything they say is a damn lie. All of them. This clown right, I mean, and stuff say it's so ridiculous. This guy's probably a doctor, a PhD or something. This Wesley guy. 2 years ago, he's gonna get up and give a whole thing about the problem we have now is because we don't get enough sun here in America. No sun. I said, are you out of your goddamn mind? You probably a doctor and you say some stupid shit like that. Okay, if that's the problem, the solution would be go back to Africa, wouldn't it? But he said we ain't going nowhere. And the Farra-Con said, so if that's the problem, then why should we? Well, we're gonna make the sun hotter in America? They're so stupid. And this fool up here, well, I don't even want to go. Let me move on, brother. I said, this is the worst part of my mission, to deal with these fools. They had to buy a new house, right? But they had animals in there, animals shit all over the place. Well, yeah, it's a great house, man, but you got to go in there, pull the shit out. You know what I'm saying? You can't pay anybody else because they look at it, they ain't going to do it right. So you want it done right, you got to go in and do it, but you got to double shit, you got to get it, smell it, you got to pick it up, move it, texture. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it says. To clean the house up, we got to move the shit out. The chaff, the tears, the demons. We got to clean the shit out. That's them. He said, to purify. What do you mean purify? I mean, if you got to purify something, it means it's not pure. It's corrupt. If you got to purify, if it's already pure, you don't need to purify something that's already pure. How are you going to purify something that's already pure? I mean, it's got shit in it. It's effed up. And that's shit right there. That's all shit right there. The stupid, the clowns, they're stupid. And that boy over there, Ishmael, that boy is totally retarded. That boy is so dumb, it's pathetic. He is. He said he's Elijah's son. Whoa. That boy is retarded. Certified. He can't say 5 things without say 5 things, right? Contradicting themselves. Right? He said something 1 minute, 2 minutes later, it's contradict everything he just said. Okay. Story about God's love. Love, love, love. God's love. That's what he said was last week. Okay. God's love. He guides everything he created he created everything, right? And he protects it and guides it to its perfection. Gives it where it needs to provide. Where did Satan come from? Where the devils come from? If he made everything, if he's love, then why would he make something that says imperfect, finds imperfect, then he want to put in hell forever and ever? Where's the love in that? It's all bullshit. These people are so sick. Let me move on. I think it's the worst part of my mission. It's the worst part. It makes me sick. Nice house, man, but how you let it get full of shit? Shit all over the walls, on the floor. Oh man, somebody got to clean out, man. But once you clean out, you got a nice house. Damn. That's what I do. What I got to do with all this shit. But that's all it is. Don't call it shit. What we should do is shit. Let's move it out. You don't throw it in the water. Burn it up as far away as you can, bro. Because you don't want the smell from the burn. Burn it up. What shit show? I tell you, my wife looks at me. She always got the car set up. It warms up there down because you got to rush me to emergency. Have a stroke. These clowns. They have you laughing. Have you so angry that you start to have a coronary. You had you cracking up so hard that you can't believe it. Like this clown. I'm gonna move on, bro. I mean, look at this one. Afterwards, last week said that this big thing about Farra-Con had this vision in 1985. He had this big vision down in Mexico. Online, just check it out. And he had a vision where he had a conversation with Elijah. Elijah told him that America was making a war in the Middle East, something like that there. Go and tell him the world about it, and tell him that Elijah told me to tell you. That's what he did. I may paraphrase a little bit, but that's what he said. That's the essence of it. In 1985 now, right? He don't say nothing. He said, Elijah told me to go. He don't say a damn thing, nothing. Then 1987, number 1987, the newspaper got a hold of the story. And some major outlet and publisher made it public. So it was publicized in 1987 that America will do this has one release something like that, right? Public, publish. Not secret, not top secret. Public, right? 1985, he gets this so-called vision, told us to go tell everybody. He ain't told anybody anything. 97, nothing, nobody. Then 1989, he goes out and get public. Look, I can hardly see it with straight face, bro. I can't believe these assholes say some dumb shit like this. So you think people sitting here, they must be dumber than them. I mean, you run the shit, and then they say there's shit, worse shit than that. Well, shit is shit, but I guess there's different grades. They shit that listen to them must be worse than them. Because you can't get past that one, what he has said. He said 1989, the press conference announcing that vision he had in 1985, 4 years ago, after the public's made public. And he says, he telling the world, and that was a goddamn prophecy? And they made a big deal about it? Like, who else could do something like that? Who else would want to do something as dumb as that? Some dumb ass shit. And you're going to say I'm a prophet? And after the world knows about it, now you're going to tell us like 4 years later? We told you to tell 4 years ago? And you sitting there buy that shit, and you still sitting there? Even look, I wouldn't know what it's in the world. I've been still sitting there after that. And you couldn't figure that one out? Now it goes on and on and on. Watch the weather, all this bullshit. Armageddon posted place 3 years ago, whatever. You see on Armageddon started. It's going to spread all over Europe. That's it. So the truth is so clear, and the person that's the main demon, the main problem, and he's so obvious. So how the hell you say? See, that's why it's easy. See, I got to put up this shit, but the point is, when separation comes, it's going to be easy. So I guess they say, well, difficulty is ease. That's what the crown means. Because In a few more days, this war resumes. That's when separation will take place. I don't have to. It won't be hard work because anybody's still with him. That's it. Case closed. You have to ask questions and interview. No, you still with him under those circumstances. That's what they say. Say less. Damn. Oof. It's unbelievable. It's hard to wrap your mind around it. Let me move on, bro. This just makes me sick. I tell you, it does. It really physically has a physical impact on me. It's dumb shit. Now listen to this. Listen to this one. And you know anything about Elijah Muhammad, you read anything, you know this is bullshit. Total. Not a little bit of bullshit. Total bullshit. In fact, the bulls would call it bullshit. I mean, it's really shit bullshit. You know, if a bull calls it bullshit, then damn, it must be really bad. Right? I never can watch the way through it. That's my job to consume them. See, I look, pay attention to all the words. Say, you consume it with the spirit of his mouth. Yeah, it says one thing is your key, but destroy when the brain is coming. When you consume something, you got to taste it. You got to smell it. See? So to get rid of him, I got to taste and smell it. It's shit. To get rid of shit, I got to taste and smell it. Damn. Sick. Anybody understand anything about Injil, understand what's going on? They know it's not what you don't talk about. You sit back and say, how in the hell are they believe this shit? How in the hell? Oh, he calls it she's seminal.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes, I'm gonna do something. I don't want to put my brother on the spot. See, this is this. This is something else. Love and faith transcends color. And the reason why we embrace Father Flager as a brother is because we find him on the battlefield of justice, being a true disciple of Jesus. And the last thing I'll say is you'll never call us racist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because this day that we honor,
yes, sir,
Master Fard Muhammad, if you see an image of him, put his image up.
Yes, sir.
That's the man whose father was a black man and his mother a Caucasian. And how many of us have a parent that's a Caucasian or grandparent? It's not about color. It's about our submission to the will of God. And in that we find common ground and unity. So I'm only one shade lighter than you, so. And Mustafa maybe 4 more shades lighter. We a family.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay a family and be a family and love each other as God would have us to love each other. We love you, Father. Happy Savior's Day. Thank you. I had to do that. We love you.
One more time, brother.
Fuck going about sisters. Big shit there. What's never happened to them? You read the spirit of Son of Man, the spirit of Joshua, the spirit of Mr. Covenant? What he's going to do to him? You do what he's going to do to him? Unprecedented. They said, remember, it said most grievous chastisement. That means anything that you've already imagined is worse. It's most grievous. Most means worse. So you said how all kinds of things happen to people being tortured and all kinds of stuff. It said it can be worse than that. The most. It's going to happen to these clowns in a few days. Well, they're going to put a beg on. They're laughing now. Some people laughing then. They're going to eradicate me. What's going to happen? It says God is going to eradicate them and their seed. That's what God is going to do. That's what it says. Amalek destroy everything about them, every aspect, every atom. Come on, brown sisters.
Although the Nation of Islam, does not presently advocate violence by its members, the group does preach hatred of the white race and racial separatism. The membership of the Nation of Islam is organized and poses a real racial threat. The Nation of Islam is responsible for the largest black nationalist newspaper, which has been used by other black extremists. The Nation of Islam appears to be the personal fiefdom of Elijah Muhammad. When he dies, a power struggle can be expected and the Nation of Islam could change direction. We should be prepared for this eventuality. We should plan how to change the philosophy of the Nation of Islam to one of strictly religious and self-improvement orientation, deleting the race hatred and separate nationhood aspects. In this connection, Chicago should consider what counterintelligence action might be needed now or at the time of Elijah Muhammad's death to bring about such a change in Nation of Islam philosophy. Important considerations should include the identity, strengths, and weaknesses of any contenders for Nation of Islam leadership. What are the positions of our Bureau Deletion informants in regard to leadership? How could potential leaders be turned or neutralized? The alternative to changing the philosophy of the Nation of Islam is the destruction of the organization. This might be accomplished through generating factionalism among the contenders for Elijah Muhammad's leadership or through legal action in probate court on his death. Chicago should consider the question of how to generate the factionalism necessary to destroy the Nation of Islam by splitting into several groups. Bureau Deletion. Do you think that the FBI just folded and walked away? Read this document carefully. Did not the FBI accomplish each of their goals? Did not Farra-Con deliver everything the FBI wanted? We should plan to change the philosophy of the Nation of Islam to one of strictly religious and self-improvement orientation. Sunniism, Scientology. Deleting the race hatred. Don't call devils anymore. Deleting the separate nationhood aspects. We ain't going nowhere. No existing economic program. The reason why these facts are ignored is because those that surround him are demons, fools, idolaters and FBI agent handlers who make sure he stays on track. Farra-Con claims his father may have been a Jew. By J. Correspondent, April 26, 1996. Sign up for Weekday J.
All the brothers and sisters, notice everything. This is a FBI document. When they say bureau deletion, that means they don't want to let you know who the names are. They delete the names, bureau deletion, the names and and the players and the organizations. Like some man out there and Eric X and all these people. Exactly. And if I'm giving exactly. And then you got so by Ishmael is saying, hey, he calling the devils our brothers. Exactly. It's point for point. How can you go wrong with that? So see, I said truth is so clear. Farra gave me exactly everything they wanted. He said it's either that or destroy the Nation of Islam. If it's there, that means they got all the points. They got every point that he gave him. Every point. Every point. They'll find Elijah Muhammad. That's why they'll step for the $5,000. And that's why you restrict so-called shadow banning. You limit the scope of this presentation. They think, I know. It doesn't matter because it don't work that way. They think so. I don't think that way. It matters that how many have a media. You have YouTube. Any problem? Abraham? Any problems in the past? A lot. They have YouTube, right? Facebook, right? They have any of that stuff? TikTok. They have any of that stuff? They brought down empires. So what you think? What do you think I need this now? They did it by themselves. These people are so ignorant, so stupid, it's incredible. Let me move on, brothers and sisters. A couple more things and get to my point. And my sound turned off, brothers and sisters. Let me reiterate. I'm saying is, I think I was talking about what I'm getting ready to show right now. This here is an interview. It's okay, let me back up. What I was saying earlier was that there was people that here so far Farra-Con's answer, they can't read the line eyes. So I showed a picture of that guy I showed a few seconds ago with Farra-Con kissing the sky. Oh, it's photoshopped. Because he couldn't believe he kissed the devil. That's okay. And then other things too. But this is one situation right here where Farra-Con had an interview and he's saying his father was, he's saying his father is a white Caucasian Jew. And they have a problem with that. So let's look at this. I'm going to give you a couple of points. I'm going to play it. Now, he says his name is Louis Eugene Walcott. And the reason he said because his stepfather's name is Eugene Walcott. That's established. Because his mother was living this person named Eugene Walcott. But he said earlier that wasn't his father. He said his father was raped his mama, right? Because they confused the story. Because he said his father was a light-skinned Jamaican, which that's nationality, but it's straight here. But that point is that's the description of Eugene Walcott. Because if you Google, right, his father, it says Percival Clark. Percival Clark, and he's white Caucasian. You Google it right there. So how do you so? But see, you got these people out there saying, "No, man, that's wrong. That can't be right because that ain't his father's name. That ain't not his father, right? His father's the other guy." Okay, but listen to this carefully. Remember, the other person's name was Percival Clark. That's the one that she got raped by or she slept with, or was her first husband, whatever. But the point that he grew up in this person called Eugene Walcott. And see, he slipped up and revealed the truth here. Right? Because his mother's real maiden name was Grounds. That's where you get Legion. Louis Eugene Grounds, he turned in eye backwards. Big hit right there. That's in Mark. His demon. Louis Eugene Grounds, because he admit his name is Louis Eugene, he's got a problem with the G. He says Walcott, but Walcott was not his father. Again, Walcott was not his father. The person that raped him, Percival Clark. Now, he admitted to it inadvertently in here. Because when he said what his mother's name was, guess what he says his mother's name was? Sarah May Clark. Clark. Walcott, Clark. Now, where'd she get the Clark? How come that's connected with the Percival Clark guy? So was she married to him and then sleep with Walcott? I don't know. He says, so he connect, see what I'm saying? And he says that his father's father, white, Caucasian, Portuguese, Jew. That would make him a black, Caucasian, Portuguese, Jew. Let me go ahead and play the rest as well.
Farra-Con claimed may have been a Jew. By J. Correspondent April 26, 1996. Sign up for Weekday J and get the latest on what's happening in the Jewish Bay Area. Farra-Con claims his father may have been a Jew. By J. Correspondent April 26, 1996. Sign up for Weekday J and get the latest on what's happening in the Jewish Bay Area. Washington, D.C. Louis Farra-Con suspects that his father may have been Jewish. At least that's what he tells Henry Louis Gates Jr. in the current issue of the New Yorker magazine. Speaking of his father's white Portuguese parents, the Nation of Islam leader said, "I'm going to tell you something. You really want to know what I think? I think they were members of the Jewish community." He added, "I believe that in my blood, and not in a bad way. Because when I was a little boy I used to love listening to the Jewish cantors in Boston. They had a program, and every week I would listen. I was struck by the cantor, and I've always loved the way they sing or recite the Torah. Gates, citing an academic source, says Farra-Con's assertion about his lineage is highly probable given that nearly all people of Iberian descent in Jamaica and Barbados are of Sephardic Jewish ancestry. Farra-Con was born in 1933, the son of May Clark, who was from Barbados. He was named Gene after his father, a light-skinned man with straight hair from Jamaica. His father, Gates writes, was a philanderer whom the family rarely saw. If in my lineage there are Jews, I would hope that in the end, before my life is over, I not only will have rendered a service to my own beloved community of black people but will also have rendered a service to the Jewish community, Farra-Con was quoted as saying. In the interview with Gates, which reportedly lasted 9 hours, the Nation of Islam leader also made reference to wise Jews who plan evil, the international conspiracy of Jewish bankers and overwhelming Jewish complicity in the slave trade. Jewish groups expressed outrage over Farra-Con's latest public statements. Farra-Con's effort to make it appear that he is merely criticizing the evil he finds in his own Jewish antecedents is a reflection of the bizarre and ludicrous nature of his entire behavior towards Jews, Phil Baum, executive director of the American Jewish Congress, said in a statement. Meanwhile, a planned protest against the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith fizzled last. 3. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. 5 And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold, therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury, it upheld me. 6 And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth.
See, lies just build up, brothers and sisters. This sound like Farra-Con? This is the real Messiah talking here. The real Messiah. Hold on for a minute, brothers and sisters. And brothers and sisters, there was an emergency outside and I had to move my car. Things happen. Anyway, it's so simple. I mean, most likely he never revealed that to Elijah. His father was the devil. There's nobody in the world he would have got where as far as he got. Because the less are clear on that. He's not seed Abraham. Elijah Muhammad maybe did know because he said, Farra-Con missed it. Elijah Muhammad said he'd be his worst hypocrite. Farra-Con goes against everything Elijah Muhammad said. Elijah said he was going home. He said, well, no, we're not going anywhere. He's doing everything the FBI said. So there's no question here. So the problem is, right, what's going on here? Well, what's going on here is that the target is NOI. He had to shut the NOI, because he said he had destroyed the whole idea of Elijah Muhammad's message. Because then when that message to spread, it was spreading. So Farra-Con just, they had destroyed it. Wallace and Farra-Con had destroyed, denounced the message, denounced Master Muhammad as being a fake, both of them frauds. Wallace, both of them, he was there together. This is a fact. I was there. They shut it down. They got rid of the name, got rid of all the assets, stole all the assets, left the police with nothing. That's what Farra-Con, the one you idolized so much, the one asked the believers that he ripped off. The one that ended up going back to prison, the one that he missed it. Some went crazy, went back to prison, everything else. Because they left us with nothing. The brothers and sisters work hard to build, the work with Elijah, build everything up, and they looted, took the money, and left us with nothing. Farra-Con did with Wallace. And they got rid of the name of Nation Islam. It started something called Bilalians. And then when some believers didn't go along with that, and they saw, hey, there might be some seeds still growing. So he said, Farra-Con eradicates the seeds. Make sure, total, that's what he's been doing. All you got to do is look at what he says and look at what Elijah Muhammad says. It's totally different. He's everything the FBI asked for, he gave him. Buses. This is well, I'll move on. I have to get to my main subject, boss. This is bloodbath. Speak on this in a minute, and then we'll move on. It's time unprecedented. So people don't keep up with things. I've got a presentation preparing. It's very detailed. Right now, this is a hit. It says when come up, people, it's a snare. You see it coming. But look around you. Ask yourself a couple of questions. They say AI is going to get rid of millions of jobs. The only reason they're holding it back right now is because they're trying to figure out what to do with you. Because 9% of which job you have, AI can take, AI, probably almost all of them. They have, they talk about China. Check Google China. They have robot cities there. Almost everything is AI. And people go to college for free, so they're teaching everybody AI and everything so they can operate all this stuff. They got some of the best. They say you have to even own a car in China. They say they put cars, brand new cars all over the place. Right? So you got to go someplace, you got an app. You say, okay, I'm here, and this is where I got to go. And then a car lights up right near you. Huh? An old raggedy ass car. And you get in the car, and then it takes you where you want to go. That's it. You have to own a car. And they got high speed. I mean, you know, and they Americans keep up with that. But the point is, that means no jobs. It means AI. It means no jobs, especially jobs for you. What are they going to do with you? Think about what were they going to do with you? They give you a welfare check or something? What's their habit? What are they doing over there? They're showing they're getting prepared. They're praying over in Gaza, getting people prepared for genocide because they're going to put genocide on you. The scripture says it. Get people acclimated to it. And why they put the military in all the cities now, mostly black cities? Why put the military there? They're getting everything set up. So they all of a sudden you don't have any jobs. You've been to Walmart lately? Remember all the black folks, how you seeing black folks at all in now? Where their jobs they go? They don't need people to flip burgers anymore. They don't need people to do janitor anymore. Now I got relatives that was doing that pet boy, good rich thing. They had a job. I told them years ago, I said, get out of that stuff. There won't be no, they learn AI something. They're all out of work. Several males, all out of work. None of them, I told you, they don't need you anymore. Now they want to come live their parents' house. No, you ain't living here. I told you. It's happening all over. And now you got people, 2 and 3 families living in one family, because I know my friend told me in the neighborhood was they sent a thing around telling everybody, you can't have 2 or 3 families in one apartment. They don't need you. So what are they going to do with you? They tell you they freed you in Civil War. They didn't free you. They didn't need you anymore. They came to cotton gin. Go read the story. Don't listen to what they tell you. Read the story. Came to cotton gin. They didn't need you anymore. That's what they did. They threw your ass in the ditch. You had no job. You had nothing. You didn't know where to go. That's why the blues came out. Started saying, blue, you know what the hell to do. They didn't need you in the fields no more. They had the cotton gin. That's why they let you go. They didn't need you no more. They didn't need you anymore. And then once you take a factory job, because white folks say, hey, can't have that happen. I can't go, you put $1 now. I want $10 now. I get 10 of y'all for $1 now. This is really what happened. So that worked out. So they got a problem. They got to get rid of you. They can't you go sit around and give you a check. They have no jobs for you. That's why they set it up. And you sit around like a deer in headlight, just watching the truck as it run towards you, just staring at it. What do you think's going to happen? Now you're talking about you got these people I showed you. If you look at the whole presentation, I got all these people that talk to the president, main people. Many people sum up. This should be all white country. Everybody should go along with what the white people want. That's the atmosphere right now. They're already set. And so once you mess around, have massive labor, because they have these secret meetings. What are we going to do with black folks? What are we going to do with these jobs? They want me to do jobs for them. Secret meetings. They already decided. So now they got Trump in there. He put troops in all the cities. Why do you think they put him there? But as soon as all of a sudden you ain't got no jobs, what you going to do? You're going to say, I need to set it and starve. And so then he can shoot you down because they got military, not National Guard, not police. And that's exactly what Scripture says is going to happen. They were closing in on you because they got to upgrade to AI. They got to upgrade AI because they in competition with China. They got to upgrade to AI. Why should they pay you $2, $10, $12, whatever they pay you an hour? All they got to do is plug this damn robot in the socket. You ain't getting it. And if Farra-Con warned you about this, or God told me shut up. God told me a goddamn thing. We got to get the hell out of here. Keep listening to those clowns, because, like I said, if you listen to them, you're going to get, and we're not going to lose no sleep over you. If you listen to those clowns and you go down with them, nobody's going to leave no sleep over you. They say, we get home, nobody's going to mourn over you. Not one drop, not shed one tear. Because the truth was so goddamn clear. Let's look at Exodus. Misplaced up. Give me a second. Oh, this is a misplaced. Well, get back, brothers and sisters. Let's look at Exodus. So you follow Exodus, brothers and sisters, you can't go wrong. Very simple path. Let's go through it quickly. Now I got a special little thing I prepared. Let's look at it. Exodus. He's leaving. Exit. Get it? Let's see. This will show deception. The Exodus says that God will come. Now, how you know he's a God? Because he got power. That's why I'm on top of this plane. But if he had another plane, then he'd just be another prophet, another person, right? That came and left. I mean, how would you call him a God? Have any power? Just, right? I mean, that's where you probably look at it. But he said, no, he got this plane that they would not be able to match, and that is observable, and that he has power to take down this reality. Right? So that's why he mentioned he had this. If he didn't mention this, then you wouldn't have such respect and anticipation of match for Muhammad. Said, oh man, you got this shit. That's where you see his power at. He says they can't match it. Okay, so he said he would come, and then it's Elijah, and actually by name, and that's his born name, that's his birth name. Didn't make it up. He raised the first Elijah. That's what Exodus says. Exodus says Moses, right? And Malachi it actually gives his actual name. Moses mean I think Moses translation means someone drawn on water or something like that. But it's not actual name. Anyway, he raised Elijah, and Elijah would request a spokesman who the God was against. He didn't anoint him. Read it carefully. He was against this. The God didn't come to this spokesman. That wasn't his idea. That was Elijah's idea. The spokesman. And the God was totally against it. In fact, he was angry at Moses. Elijah even asked him about it. That's what it says. Read it carefully. He says he was angry and said, you don't need him. But Elijah insisted, so he finally gave him one. There's the spokesman, the mouth. right? That'll be Aaron. And he said, well, he says he's his brother. Well, Angel Key explains why it says that. Anyway, bottom line is, see, and remember, Matt Palmer is not Son of Man. They give a clear description of Son of Man's woolly hair and dark skin. It's not Farra-Con's Master Palmer either. That's a mistake Elijah Muhammad made. It comes from Suleiman, Son of Man Suleiman. And Suleiman in the scripture says he's black. No, that's another connection. Anyway, that's what Exodus. Now, as far as they're concerned, Exodus stops right there. That's how Exodus stops. Anyway, if you're going to Exodus, to my exit, then it's got to tell you how we exit and where we exit to. But he said we ain't going nowhere, so why do they call it Exodus? They should call it no Exodus. Because Aaron doesn't want to leave. Remember, Aaron tried to turn people back to Egypt. He doesn't want to leave. So why do they call it Exodus? Because based on this scenario that Farra-Con is giving you, we ain't going nowhere. He actually said it, we're not going anywhere. But that's not Exodus. Exodus doesn't stop with Aaron. It doesn't stop there. But that's what they're telling you. So they believe in part of the book, but disbelieve the other. It says what happened to people that do that. And that's the crime, what you say is sanctified. He stops it right there. That's one of the problems having right now. Because now Elijah's gone, Farra-Con is incontinent, right? He's incontinent. He can't wipe his own ass. He can't even wheel himself around in a wheelchair. Right? I'm here and he can't get him up. He's pissing and shitting in a bag. Somebody got to feed him. He's sick. That's why I'm going to show you a picture of anything of it. So God told him, be quiet. What do you say? I'm going to show pictures. Don't wave or something. I can go into that in more detail, but the point is, he's out of it, but he's the Messiah. Remember, the Messiah would be from Abraham's seed. He's not Abraham's seed. I just showed you. His father's the devil. Everything shows that he's fucked up. Everything. So why are you with him? Because you wanted him. You're a demon yourself. You're idiot. You're stupid. Or whatever you want. We want you to stay with him. We don't want you. We don't know dummy idiots and fools in our paradise. Shitting about paradise, sticking it up. Because if you with him, you got to be out of it. You with Farra-Con, you got to be out of it. Because there's nothing that you can hang on to that justifies. That's why you won't come and get that $5,000. They stop it right there. Now, what does the Exodus say? What's the Exodus say? Go to spot one Exodus. Okay. Boom. Joshua. And Joshua, right? Joshua would be the one. He was with Elijah too. He laid back while Aaron was running for about 40 years in the wilderness. Right? And Joshua. And see, this is where all this stuff comes in. Because Joshua is the one that takes you home. He's the messenger of the covenant. Talking about Malachi. Hey, the messenger of the covenant, someone going to take you home, right? Joshua takes you home. He's the messenger of the covenant. It's in Malachi. Because in Malachi got the same thing, right? You got the God. You got Elijah. And then you got someone that's robbing God who's cursed. Farra-Con, cancer, 55, blew his ass up. Pissing shit in the bag at 55, castrated his ass, disembowelment, pissing shit in the bag. That's not a curse. It's sure not a warning. It's a curse, obviously a curse. See, you can't get away with this. You can't get around it. The man's cursed. Any man would tell that's a curse. But when it comes to Farra-Con, he just sacrificed for us. He just sacrificed. See, he sacrificed. Why would God make him sacrifice like that? Because it tells you God doesn't act like that. Because when it came to Job, right, Job suffered immensely. But God told Satan you could do anything you want, but you're not putting permanent damage onto him. No permanent damage. He's damaged goods. Putting shit in the bag. I mean, he's the Messiah. See, they don't talk about it. Another thing, they never mention the Master Covenant. It's right there in Exodus. They never mention him. Never mention Joshua at all. Never. And when they talk about Abraham, they say remember they say Exodus is us. But why don't mention the one that actually fulfills Exodus? They don't mention it. And then when you go to Abraham, right, about 400 years, they say, "Oh, that's us too." But then when it comes to the covenant part of it, they don't mention that either. That shows a conscience of guilt. That means they know they're lying. They know that they're against us because those two things they never mentioned. Because you put two together. They never mention the name Joshua, period. Because you go and say, who is Joshua? And the bottom line is, Joshua itself, right? There's no name Jesus in the Bible anywhere. Ooh, not in the Old Testament. The New Testament's not there either. Go look at transcripts. Look at manuscripts. It's not there. They translate the Greek first, and then translate it back to English, and that's how they pick up the Jesus stuff. Because the name in Hebrew and in Aramaic is Joshua with a Y. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know who he is. Farra-Con don't want you to know who he is because the devils control him. The devils don't know who he is. They want you to be misled. So they put Farra-Con out there and say he's a Messiah. Because the whole world's out to deceive you, confuse you, because they don't want you to recognize who the Messiah is. Because they don't want you to go home. Plus, Sunnis don't want you to go home either. Because that's our land. It tells you, the covenant says we're going home to Arabia, between River Egypt and the River Euphrates, which is Arabia. They're on the bandwagon too. They don't want you to. That's why paying Farra-Con all this money to stop telling us we're going somewhere. Because how they get around that? This is God's word. So God says that's our land. So they said, no, don't touch that. But I don't mention Joshua. The name in Aramaic and in Hebrew, the name is actually Joshua, not Jesus. He's the name they made up to prove it. And I've got several presentations to explain it. But this still, they don't mention him. He comes with a sealed book. He breaks the seals. He comes telling you about return home to Arabia, exactly like, no, they don't mention him at all. Never. But this is the version they give you. Oh! See, first of all, they have to eradicate that this God has any power. America got to be all powerful. Nobody can be more powerful than America. Nobody can be more powerful than America. We're the gods. We're the ultimate superpower. And those UFOs said, no, hell, you ain't. We'll stomp your ass in the ground in a second. They can't have you believe it. It can't be something that's power greater and then connected to us. They can't have you do that. So that's why I put Wallace in there. Wallace, he was totally against Father 100% openly. I think really openly. He was officially out of the nation when Elijah Muhammad departed. Farra-Con lied now and said, no, he was back. No, that's a lie. I was there. I was there when he was kicked out. He was not reinstated before Elijah Muhammad departed. Farra-Con said that because he's kind of explained why he didn't take charge when he was the top minister after Elijah was gone. So that's his cop out. He's a coward. A stinking ass coward. Honorable. How can shit be honorable? Maybe to flies. They give a shit. So are you fly? You love Farra-Con, you must be a fly. Flies are black, ain't they? But they like eating shit. You Farra-Con, you eating shit. He's telling you it's honey. It's good. Take with him. That's what he did. He came and eradicated the name of Islam, eradicated the name of Elijah, destroyed the idea of Master Muhammad. He wasn't no God. He wasn't. That's what he did. Exactly what he did. Farra-Con was right there with him. Who better do it than his own son? He got credibility. If his son said no good, so that's what he did. And he got rid of the name of NOI, got rid of it. So it wasn't NOI. They said some kind of rebellions, and Farra-Con was right there with him. They denounced Elijah Muhammad, denounced Master Muhammad, right? And go along to America's program about there no UFOs. That's what they had to do. That's exactly what they did. Exactly what happened. Remember the FBI program? This is their version they give you. Right? Then what? Then, now, he's the Messiah now. He's the Messiah, but we ain't going nowhere. He's the Messiah. Messiah says what? Oh, He's going to save us because we're going to be good in America. We'll be niggas for America. It's going to be good because he don't want to go anywhere. We're going to stay here. We love America. And he's the Messiah. That's what they're telling you. It's not Exodus. It's something they made up. That's the version they give you. He's the Messiah. Nothing after him. That's the problem they got right now because if he's the Messiah, they say, he's on a deathbed, then what are they going to do after he loses? What's going to come after that? Because for them, after Farra-Con, that's it. So they run around trying to figure out how to square that circle. We're going to stay here. We ain't going nowhere. But America be burned up. We ain't going nowhere. America be destroyed. We ain't going nowhere. We're going to stay here. Farra-Con's the last, but he can't wipe his own ass. You don't have a vision. The whole purpose is to destroy your vision. Because Muhammad gave you a vision. It says, we are to save Abraham. That was united people. And they took 48, destroyed that, put false Israel up there, who they was killing. They was destroying. They burned up the day before. All of a sudden they love them. Because they was trying to counter Elijah Muhammad's message. That vision. So that vision for them, and we had no vision anymore. We know about it. We just supposed to be slaves. So people all over the place. Some Christians, some Jews, everything. We don't have a vision. We're not united. Visions unite people. We do not united. We have a vision, a common vision. And that's what they set it up there. That's what it's all about. We have a vision. But with Farra-Con, there's no vision, is there? We're just going to stay here. We're going to protect America. We're going to love America. There's no vision. It's how people stay disunited. That's what else they giving? And then, technology, remember? Self-help program. If you think I'm lying, go over there and just study a group. And that's what they talk about around Hub. That's all they talk about, Scientology. They don't talk about Elijah, because I was one of their voice calls, what do they call those things when everybody get on a call? Right? I was over there, went over there to check out what's happening. And the thing is that there are all these everybody on the call, and all they talking about is around Hub and Scientology. When they talking about Farra-Con healed them and all that kind of stuff, they talking about he did it not with Elijah Muhammad's teachers, with L. Ron Hubbard's teachers, Scientology. Wording that's intelligence thing, where intelligence gathering, get off information. Because if you want to move up there, you gotta admit everything about your secrets, everything in the past. What they use to blackmail your ass. That's the dumbest thing you ever think of. Yeah. You want to move up there, you gotta do auditing, and you gotta be honest, you gotta tell everything, and then they use that shit against you. That's the whole thing, is a ripoff. So you going in, and like I said, I was on one of those calls a couple of times. And everybody talking about, I mentioned somebody, Elijah Muhammad, and they mute you right away, bam. They were talking about engrams, that kind of crap. They were talking about clear, they got a mind. That's the version they give you. Sunnism. Elijah Muhammad wouldn't even let them come to his temple. Sunnism. That's religion he gave you. Scientology, which is Catholicism 2.0. That's it, simple. You don't believe your lying eyes. This is what they're getting you. That has no resemblance to the scripture at all. It's they're giving you. You can't find scripture that backs this shit up here. So why are you with them?
And when the people saw that Elijah delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Farra-Con, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us, for as for this Elijah, the man that brought us up out of the land of America, we wot not what is become of him. And Farra-Con said unto them, Break off the golden earrings, which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Farra-Con. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf, and they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of America. And when Farra-Con saw it, he built an altar before it, and Farra-Con made proclamation, and said, Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. 6 And they rose up early on the morrow, and offered burnt offerings, and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and to drink, and rose up to play. And the Lord said unto Elijah, Go, get thee down, for thy people, which thou broughtest out of the land of America, have corrupted themselves, they have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them, they have made them a molten calf, Sunism, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of America. And the Lord said unto Elijah, I have seen this people, and, behold, it is a stiff-necked people, now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. And Elijah besought the Master Fard his God, and said, Lord, why doth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of America with great power, and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Americas speak, and say, For mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from thy fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against thy people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swarest by thine own self, and saidst unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land, Arabia, that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. And Elijah turned, and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of the testimony were in his hand, the tables were written on both their sides, on the one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, graven upon the tables. And when Joshua, messenger of the covenant, heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Elijah, There is a noise of war in the camp. And he said, It is not the voice of them that shout for victory, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being defeated, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. And it came to pass, as soon as he came nigh unto the camp, that he saw the calf, and the dancing, and Elijah anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hands, and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made, and burned it in the fire, and ground it to powder, and strawed it upon the water, and made the children of Israel drink of it. And Elijah said unto Farra-Con, What did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? And Farra-Con said, Let not the anger of my Lord wax hot, thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, Make us gods, which shall go before us, for as for this Elijah, the man that brought us up out of the land of America, we know not what is become of him. And I said unto them, Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me, then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. And when Elijah saw that the people were naked, for Farra-Con had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. Then Elijah stood in the gate of the camp, and said, Who is on the Lord's, Joshua's, side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said unto them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor, Farra-Con and all his followers, and the children of Levi, Noi, did according to the word of Elijah, and there fell of Farra-Con, legion, and all his demons that day about 3,000 men. For Elijah had said, Consecrate yourselves today to the Lord, even every man upon his son, and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day.
Okay, brother, says Exodus. That's where it's supposed to be read. So I'm here to get information, brother, sister. You do what you will. Do what you will. But your, what I say, the way you end up, it'd be your determination. You're going to determine your end. No one determines in but you, not God. No one determines in but you. So what you do with this information, if you do anything with it, that's up to you. Let me show let me show this right here. And then one more thing, and then I'll close. Well, let me show this thing about Joshua first. The Joshua, Jesus, that's where it actually comes from. Let's look at it.
Aramaic Bible in plain English. 1 And a certain man was sick, Lazar of the town of Bethany, the brother of Miriam and of Martha. 2 This Miriam was the one who had anointed the feet of Yeshua with ointment and wiped them with her hair, whose brother Lazar was sick. 3 And his 2 sisters sent to Yeshua, and they were saying, Our Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. 4 Yeshua said, This sickness is not of death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be.
See, that's the Aramaic, right? For the so-called New Testament. Here it is for Old Testament. Right? The same name. The name Jesus not there. If you go read the manuscripts, the name Jesus not there. The name Joshua is there. So where does Jesus come from? They go out the way to get you to not know about Joshua. That's what it's all about. Because if you look at manuscripts, name Jesus, just not there. You can't find it. Look at the manuscripts. Go to Hebrew, Aramaic manuscripts, and Arabic also. The name Jesus is not there. The name is Joshua. I just showed you what it is for the New Testament. See, look what they call him in the Old Testament. Same name. We just read that a few minutes ago, right?
Aramaic Bible in plain English. 1 And after Moshe the servant of Lord Jehovah died, Lord Jehovah said to Yeshua son of Nun, the minister of Moshe, to Moshe, my servant has died, arise, cross this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land that I give to them, the children of Israel. 3 Every place that the sole of your foot will tread in it, it shall be yours, as I said to Moshe. 4 From the wilderness and the mountain of this Lebanon and unto Euphrates the great river, and all the land of the Kittites and unto the great sea, the place of the setting of the sun, shall be your border. 5 And a man shall not stand before you all the days of your life, and just as I have been with Moshe, I shall be with you. I shall not leave you and I shall not forsake you. 6 Be strong and be greatly strengthened, because you shall cause this people to inherit it, the land that I have sworn to their fathers to give to them. 7 Only be strong and be greatly strengthened to keep and do all the laws that Moshe my servant commanded you. You shall not depart from them, neither to the right nor to the left, so that you will prosper in every place that you will go. 8 And this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall be attending to it by night and by day, and you shall keep and you shall do all that is written in it, that you will prosper and you will be successful. 9 Behold, I have commanded you, be strong and be strengthened. You shall not fear and you shall not be moved, because Lord Jehovah your God is with you wherever you go.
That's Messiah. It ain't Farra-Con. He says, you have to worry about anything. I got your back. Farra-Con's back when he blew his ass up with them radiation pellets, castrated his ass, disemboweled him. Was he God protecting him then? This is Joshua. They don't want you to know anything about. Remember Joshua, not know Jesus. The name Jesus is not there anywhere. It's Joshua. They don't want you to know about Joshua. Joshua's the one that's a threat to them. Joshua's the one that takes out here. Joshua's want to take our land back over there. Joshua's want to take down the beast. Joshua want to take down all our enemies. That's why they don't want you to know about Joshua. It's about some Jesus they made up. But Jesus, he loved everybody. Remember, and anyway, Joshua is the Ancient of Days, the Son of Man, nappy hair, dark skin. The picture they gave you, that's another one. You wouldn't recognize Joshua with the picture they gave you. A white man with blonde hair, long blonde hair. See, all this deception to keep you from seeing the National Covenant, who is here for you. He didn't come to take anything from you. He come here to give money to support him. He come to give you something, give you life, to have more abundantly. If you don't want it, that's your business. Nobody's going to force it on you. One brothers and sisters. Says, and nobody can stand before him. Says, look, I'll be with you like I was with Moses. No one better stand. And I ain't worried about a goddamn thing, nothing. They've come at me every kind of way. They threw me in jail, put me on trial, right? Poisoned me, car wrecks, everything. I'm 76, still standing. I ain't worried about a damn thing, nothing. I said, you don't have to worry about nothing. Just go ahead and take care of business. That's what I'm doing. So here it is. Okay. Joshua. Okay. Not Jesus. Joshua the Messiah. Christ also a Greek name. Jesus, I'm sure where he got it from, right? Christ a Greek name. So it should be Joshua the Messiah, not Jesus the Messiah. Jesus Christ. Christ is just, there's no name for Messiah. Okay, here's deception, brothers and sisters. These are the two manuscripts, Hebrew and Aramaic. So if you don't speak that, you want to speak English, you go to somebody that translate. If we translate it in English, they translate it. You won't find the name Jesus. They translate directly. You will not find the name Jesus. You find the name Joshua. If they translate, if you go and check, go and find somebody that has these manuscripts, tell them to show the name of Jesus anywhere. They can't. You won't find it. So they translate directly, you will not find it. You'll find the name Joshua. They said, who is Joshua? They said, oh, Joshua believed a people that was enslaved for 40 years, and deceived by somebody for 40 years after domestic case closed. So what they do, right? They do this number. Translate the Greek first. Well, why do we do that? Why does Nick come this way? What's the point of doing that? What's the point? Okay, you're in New Jersey, and you want to go to Washington State, north of California, right? But you want to go down to Texas first. Well, how do you do that first? You want to get there, come back? Anyway, so why do you do that? That doesn't make no sense. What makes sense when you see what they're trying to do here? But see, this picture look familiar? Well, that's their chief god, their supreme being, Zeus. His name is Zeus. Look familiar? He might be somebody's father. The Christ, the picture of Jesus they give you, look like he would be there for his father. His name is Zeus. That's his picture, one picture of him. So he's the god of the sky. He's the king of all the gods. And GE, look up GE, geophysics, geometry, geology, whatever. Those are Greek words. And they refer to something that have to do with the earth. That's why I put GE in front. They say transfer. You put that as a prefix. Transfer, right? Transplant, transport, you move from one thing to another. If you see that, you know it's have to do with that. You see, G, something to do with the earth. That's why geology, geophysics, whatever. Right? So what it do is, remember, because the Father, he's the Father of the sky and the king. But who is the one on earth? Okay, the earth. Jesus. That's where they got it from. Jesus. Where they got it from? Okay. The fake God, Zeus, that don't exist. Now his son is Jesus. He don't exist either. He has to believe something don't even exist. That's why he even look like Zeus, don't he? And you go over here and it says, this so-called Jesus will build his kingdom on the earth. Jesus. That's where it comes from. Tell him I'm lying. Prove me I'm lying. That's where it comes from. Made up. His name is Joshua. If you see Joshua, you're going to look who Joshua is in case closed. Farra-Con is dead. And you got your vision back and you're on your way home that you earned. Oh, I'll say a message and prepare the way before me. The Lord you seek, you suddenly come to this temple, even the messenger of the covenant. So he'd be with somebody with Elijah, right? He'll come to this, right? But they don't mention him. They don't mention him. You can read the rest of this at your convenience. Okay? Don't mention Elijah. Okay, I read this earlier. I read this earlier, so I'm not going to read it again. Okay, let me show one more thing, bro, since I'm going to close out. Just watch this. What's happening is that's us, and they're afflicting us, but we're supposed to submit. Don't retaliate. Don't retaliate. Just hold in. See, so they're attacking us. 1 year is attacking us. America attacking us. We just hold in. Don't retaliate. Elijah comes and says, okay, it's about time to retaliate. They're still hitting us. And now focus on who the enemy is. See, we take all this anger and stuff in, and we beat our women up and everybody else, but we don't know who the enemy is. The devil's our enemy. Elijah comes and says, no, the devil's your enemy. Focus that wrath that you've been storing up back on them. Do them as they done to you. That's what Elijah came to do. The enemy, point out who the enemy is. So now focus that wrath that we've been storing up. Look what they've done to us. Focus back on them. Right? And Farra-Con comes and says, no, don't focus on them. They ain't devils. They ain't devils no more. Focus on yourself. You're wicked. You're sick. You're wicked. You need to repent. God's going to get you. See, focus back on yourself. That's what Farra-Con did. Man beating himself, remember? Man, mind. That's what Legion had him. Had the man beating himself up. Because the devil mind. See? He said, no, ain't nothing wrong with devils. We're the problem. We sinful. We're wicked. That's exactly what he's teaching. So focus that anger back on yourself. Don't focus on America. Don't focus on him. He loves America. No, don't do that. No. Is that what he's doing? Okay. And then that's where the message of cover come and say, no. He's start attacking Farra-Con, but he got this right shield around him, protect him, so keep that all that anger focused against ourselves, against people who are doing it to us. So he hit it with the Injil, with the truth. That's what he's doing. Scientology, everything. We're wicked, you're wicked. He accused us. He finally takes out Farra-Con. Farra-Con started hurt, right? Breaking through. Knocks out Farra-Con, boom. Explosion. Put the anger back on, do them as they've done to you, double. What the Bible says. That's what's about to happen, brothers and sisters. Farra-Con, so this war rekindles, pours over, start, Farra-Con's gone. It's going to blow up. There's a terrible war here in America. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. I can't get to the rest of this. But we got the point. I need to get information, brothers and sisters. So I'm going to let my regular stuff play out. Assalamu
I believe that America can be beautiful. How can America be made beautiful? Now, family, listen. My brother Imam Wadakuddin and I have had disagreement, but his followers and mine have never given each other as much as a bloody nose. Because in spite of our differences, there's a deep love in us. We don't like the things about our nation that is not good, but I don't want to live anywhere else. I want America to be made right. I don't want to see America go the way of Rome and Babylon and Sodom and Gomorrah. But why won't she go that way? If the men of religion and the women of religion keep silent. When the Muslims were alive, I'll say it again. When the Muslims were alive, you dead as hell now on both sides.
Yes, sir, brother minister. Yes, we are. Yes, sir. That's real, brother minister. Both sides. That's real.
Wake us up, dear Apostle.
When we was alive, we set up schools.
That's right.
When we were alive, we had supermarkets.
That's right.
We owned buildings. We owned farmland. We were busy doing something, hiring our people. Well, I'm telling the Muslims, damn it, if you don't come alive, you will die like you are. And I will say, thank you, Allah, because if they're not doing nothing on top of the earth, let the worms eat their ass.
We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these are these people, that you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, you heard that. Donald Trump is a believer in eugenics. He believes that white people are the superior race. And inner city is code for black people. And he believes black people cannot now work on the farms. I guess they're not good enough for that. So Hispanic people can do it because they have the backs for it. This is what this man is saying out loud in interviews. He is a racist. It's been proven time and time again. The man had Mein Kampf on his bedside table that he would read at night. Enough to let you know where he stands on that. Just more outrageous, racist things from Donald Trump. They want to arrest those who can do the farm work, well, until their backs give out. And then he'll probably ship them to El Salvador or some other country. Just more vile statements from the president and let you know where he stands.
notice when they were arresting people for praying outside of abortion clinics? I mean, I do think the UK, and I say this as, you know, someone who is half English, I think it's like reached, or it is quickly reaching a point where democratic reforms are going to be pretty tough because of the demographic change. And that, of course, the point of importing all these people is to overwhelm the people who live there who disapprove of the program. So you don't have to care what they think because you just bring in new people and their will becomes like all that matters. And so I don't think you're going to fix these things through elections at some point, probably pretty soon. And I just worry a place like the UK, Canada is another, a bunch of different countries in the West are at the point where they're literally revolutionary. They are poised for revolution. And as someone who really doesn't support revolution and hates violence and hates civil war above all, I'm worried about that. I mean, I don't see how this is fixed. Starmer, who's, you know, he's just an instrument of larger forces, but he's a poisonous character, obviously, who's really hurt your country. He's in there for, 4 more years? And so you wonder, like, people are going to start to get really radical in a scary way. Like, I think this is going to happen. And the people in charge don't seem to care.
Well, you're already seeing it. You are seeing the anger beginning to manifest itself, and I completely understand the anger. I don't, like you, I abhor any form of violence, but I do understand the anger when you have, you know, Keir Starmer campaigned, I'm going to smash the gangs that allow these little boats to come over the channel, delivering tens of thousands of people illegally into the country. And they then get put into these so-called asylum hotels where they're given a pretty good lifestyle, certainly a far better lifestyle than many people really struggling at the moment in the UK. And of course, far from smashing the gangs, it turned out yesterday that he's smashing new records for the number of people coming in illegally on the boats. Of course. It's out of control. And the British public are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly?
Public are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly? You'd really have to force a lot of people to go back to their countries of origin, millions of people, and you need to do it really soon. And are they actually willing to do that? I don't know, but these are existential questions that we have been browbeat into ignoring for decades. But the question is, like, is Ireland Ireland? If it's majority non-Irish, oh, shut up, they're Irish. No, they're actually not Irish. Same with the UK, same with England, Scotland, Wales. Like, it's all changing so fast. Nothing like this has ever happened in all of history, except when, say, the Mongols swept across the steppe and raped everybody. Like, that was true demographic change on this scale. But even that wasn't as profound as what we're seeing in every white country around the world. I would say the West, but Australia and New Zealand also. So, like, what is that? Now, my brain is not big enough to understand what that is. I have a lot of theories about it, but I don't know if they're true. All I know is what the numbers are, and that's real, and no one feels that he can say it. Everyone's like, oh, well, if that were happening in China or India or Malaysia or Senegal, it doesn't matter. You'd be like, what the hell is that? Like, the population's totally different. Look at graduation. Pick, King's College Law School, and look at the graduation picture for the last 30 years. Who's in it? Just, like, let your eyes tell you the truth for once. Like, this is a total change in population. Is it better? Is it worse? Can't have that conversation. Who's pushing this? Does the population want it? The population clearly doesn't want it. There's no polling that's meaningful on the subject. I mean, there's no referendum on it. You don't get to decide. You've got no voice in it, other than you get to go to jail if you complain loudly enough about it. What is this? I think it's the biggest and darkest thing that has happened in the last 1,000 years, for sure. And I think it's leading somewhere really, really bad. It's not happening by accident, that's obvious, because it's only happening in white countries.
I mean, I think that...
Oh, shut up, white supremacist. Well, in fact, I'm not a white supremacist.
Well,
I'm just noticing what the hell's going on.
I think most people I've spoken to about this in the UK most people have always viewed the UK to be a very tolerant, multicultural, cosmopolitan place to live. That's why so many people want to come here. And people have no problem with that. And it's been very successful for a long period of time.
Wait, it's multicultural? What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country, is Sharia law? What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country, is Sharia law every bit as valid as English common?
No, people don't want Sharia law here. No.
A lot of people do. Wait, hold on. I don't know what you mean. Multiculturalism itself is a lie designed to subvert a society. No, a society has a culture. You can argue about what it is or ought to be. It's not necessarily the same as race. It's connected to race, but it's not the same. People from different races can buy into your culture. That was kind of the beauty of the West. But a multicultural society is not sustainable. There's never been such a
society is
one culture will dominate.
Hang on, Tucker. Surely the United States of America, given the very way it was created, is the epitome of a multicultural society. And my point I was going to make to you was...
It's absolutely not. No. It's a multiracial society.
Yeah.
Though it was not actually a multiracial society up until pretty recent. It was just like 90% white for most of its existence, but whatever. But you did have different peoples, you had different religions. That was all totally fine, but there was one culture, as American culture. There's no such thing as a multicultural society. It's not sustainable. One culture will overwhelm the other. Again, it's not the same as race. It's not identical to race. It's connected, but it's not the same. But multiculturalism is by definition insane. No, it's never happened. It never will happen. One culture will predominate. It will impose its values on everybody else. I mean, the gay thing, which was not a thing 40 years ago, gay was a slur, all of a sudden becomes multiculture there. There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments? Right. So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's
determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So those values can evolve.
There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had 26, 27 amendments? Right. So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. Natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's multicultural, we can all live and like have radically different values, that's just not true. It's never been true. It never will be true. So you're having one culture, one worldview predominate over another and dominate and suppress all dissent. Like, that's just what it is, dude. Let's be honest.
I would point to the United States of America and the United Kingdom as two shining examples, albeit not completely without their flaws, but shining examples of places that are deemed by the rest of the world. I certainly feel that about my country.
Well, I certainly think that inherent in Christianity is the notion of tolerance, and that draws from a core Christian concept, which is free will. You cannot force someone to convert. There's never been conversion by the sword in Christianity. People decide to believe in it. And so that is central to the religion, therefore it's been central to the society. Western civilization is Christian civilization. And so we call that tolerance. It's a respect for your inherent God-given right to make a choice about what you believe. Okay, so of course, that's always been a feature. My only point is, a society has a commonly agreed upon set of beliefs, rules, and laws that are the definition of the society itself. That's what a society is. So you can't have competing. You can't have, gay world and Sharia world living co-equally in a society. That does not happen. It will never happen. You have to pick one. Are we the Sharia society? Are we the party time gay rights society? Like, which one? And you can't face that reality, so you're just sort of snoozing along until the inevitable point where you're going to wake up and be like, my values have no bearing on what our society is anymore, because we've been invaded by other people with a totally different worldview, and they're now in charge. And that day is coming very soon for your country, and maybe it'll improve it. I don't think the UK could be a lot worse than it already is. It's this kind of disgusting, sad, self-hating, suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English person, but that day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architect. That's a choice that we're all going to face. Suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English. That day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architects of mass migration. Sorry.
I would question your characterization as my country as a sad, disgusting, what was the rest of it, suicidal nation. I feel none of those things. I feel very happy to be in the United Kingdom, and I feel that there are lots of very happy.
Our system, the Western system, which is very distinct from the Eastern system, very distinct, and it's distinct on this one precise point, we believe and have always believed since this country was founded, since your country became, not a pure monarchy, but even when it was a pure monarchy, the belief in the West, because of Christianity, was the worst thing you can do is punish the innocent. That's the worst thing you can do. That's worse than not punishing the guilty. And we often said that to each other. We no longer say that because there is a pretty concerted effort to blur the meaning of these terms. But I'm not going to be deterred from defining words precisely. Terror is murdering people, killing people, punishing people who committed no crime. Period.
So when the Israeli government says it has repeatedly that even though over 20,000 completely innocent children are believed to have died in their response to what Hamas did on October the 7th at the hands of the IDF, there are many on the pro-Palestinian side who say that Israel is behaving like terrorists too in the way that they have gone about conducting this war. Would you go as far as to say that?
One of the things that I really object to now is this relentless focus on Israel, which, by the way, is a foreign country that I have nothing to do with.
We've done this before. Now, maybe today things are different, and we will end up living in a nation that is sharply divided. and may ultimately produce something else. But I'm an American. I love my country. I want to see it stay together. I'm interested in social cohesion, which means that I think our laws, customs, and culture have to be dominant. We can accept some diversity on the edges, but not fundamental division. I think we're in a state of fundamental division. So when I bring up Sharia law, I've sat in many discussions with many people that said, well, I don't care what people look like, but I do care about Sharia law, and I don't want that practiced anywhere near my family or in my country. And that's something you should be aware of. So the notion that someone can come here and say, well, that's part of my religion and we're going to abide by Sharia law, they're going to find serious resistance and opposition in the country.
And as I clarified,
It's because it matters. It's this thing we call societal cohesion. Nations do not exist on their own. They have a core population. Our core population from the very beginning was always at least 80% European and Christian, and about 15 to 20% African. But when you start bringing in huge numbers, millions, who are fundamentally different from the core population, you are going to get violence, anger, and conflict. How many times have you heard people say, if you bring people in from the developing world, what do you get? The developing world. And now we've got that. You can't bring in hundreds of thousands of people from Somalia, plant them, of all places, in Minnesota, and then be shocked that, no, they're not Americans. They're not really interested in being Americans. They're foreigners living on American soil. Nobody wants to say that publicly. If you do, oh, well, you're a racist. Well, you know, the world is full of racists. The real war that's going to decide our fate is not going to be fought anywhere overseas. It's going to be fought right here inside the United States. Are we going to survive as a republic, as an English-speaking republic that rests on the foundations of Western civilization? Or are we going to become something else?
One point that is
The Constitution was completed in 1789. I think we had 5 million people living in the 13 British colonies. We were 90% white, that is excluding the Africans that were in the country who had been brought here as slaves. But we were 90% white. We were 90% Protestant. And this may be hard for you to believe, but the people that wrote that were trying to protect all of the Protestant sects from a state church on the model of the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church. That's one of the reasons it was almost 100 years or more after that before people began to finally accept Catholicism as a religion, because it was viewed as political power. My point to you is the Constitution is outdated. The way we are governed is outdated. It has to be re-examined. Nobody in 1789 imagined that anybody would come to the United States except another lunatic, religious fanatical Protestant who hated the Church of England. That's what people feared. That's what they thought of. The Constitution that we have does many good things, but I would argue that the Bill of Rights is ultimately more important. The Bill of Rights is vital and essential, and that needs to be defended. But the Constitution and the way we govern and the things that we're doing, it's out of date. It doesn't fit our needs. And that's back to my comment on something given has no value. You have to earn it. And we haven't made anybody earn their place in this country. I'm talking about people like me that have been here forever. My first ancestor stepped off the boat in 1681. So we've got to get back to some notion of national service, because national service promotes national integration. It addresses some of these problems that you're discussing. Now, I know that you may not want to conform and may not want to be as I am, but I'm an American and nobody questions that. Nobody ever will. If you don't want to stand out and be questioned, then I suggest that you change your appearance, because I don't think it's life or death for you to wear what you wear.
I think this conversation.
It's not fine, because it's leading to violence that could have otherwise been avoided. You see, every great nation, every large nation can always accept some number of people into its ranks that are different from them. It's always been the case. But if you suddenly import millions, which is what's happened here and happened in Europe, then you threaten the core gene pool. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a problem. And we can all pretend that there isn't, and you can insist there isn't, but that's the view. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to address it truthfully and openly. Stop pretending it's not a problem. It's a problem.
I mean, what's also a problem is white supremacy, and that's
No, because you're saying you're different, you're going to remain different, and you don't think that if that's not compatible with being an American, then the hell with it. That's what you're going to do.
Well, then what do you make then of, white American people who convert, let's say, to Islam and choose to cover? Are they not American anymore?
Listen, if they want to do that, that's obviously their business. I don't know how many are out there that do that. I think again, it's ill-advised. I think you have to hold the society together. There has to be an agreement on certain things, customs, culture, way of life. And unfortunately, if you're going to practice rigidly a brand of Islam that demands certain things, and this is why I asked right off the bat, do you support Sharia law?
I'm a Muslim. What being a Muslim means is I follow the guidelines of my religion, which is a peaceful
Does your religion dictate to you Sharia law?
My religion dictates to me to be a good human being, to be good to my neighbors, to
that the most powerful force in today's Republican Party is represented by what Charlie Kirk said. It is this drive to make America a white Christian nation. I got to tell you, this is what they say privately. This is now what they say publicly. This is what Charlie Kirk said publicly.
And Joe, again, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because you know these people very, very well. Yeah. You said it yourself. You were one of the strongest voices. You were one of the folks who understood the incendiary language when you were in Congress, when you had your radio show, and how people loved when you did it. And then when you chose to apologize for that and turn away from it, oh my God, they literally have just tried to destroy you because of that.
Yeah, again, you know the deal, Roland, right? I came out publicly against Trump 7 years. For 7 years, I put up with death threats on a regular basis. Nobody is welcome in that party unless you bow down to what this force is, this MAGA force. And again, look, there have been some people on the left who've celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. Shame on them, be better people. But this is much worse, Roland, what my former friends are doing on the right, because they are turning this into a holy war. When you say we declare war on the left because of what some 22-year-old young guy did in Utah, and then you declare war on the whole left, that's a lot worse than celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, because that's dishonest, but that's also inciting hate and violence. And Roland, look, Trump's an idiot. So yeah, Trump says the left, the problem in the country is the left. J.D. Vance is not an idiot. What did J.D. Vance say today, right? He was subbing for Charlie Kirk on his radio show, and he spent the entire show going after the left, going after them, they, them. Man, Democrats need to wake up, Roland. This is a really serious deal by my former colleagues. The stuff that I hear privately from them right now, Roland, for the last 5 days, I mean, they want to go to war. This is a holy war.
Oh, it absolutely is, and what really jumps out at me on this very thing here, Joe, and I've been saying this. I played the speech 2 weeks ago that mainstream media just ignored. Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, who gave a speech at NatCon, Peter Thiel's group, where he literally gave a white nationalist speech, where he said our ancestors fought for this country to be ours and no one else. He was talking about white people. He was basically saying if you are black, Latino, Asian American, or even Native American, America is not for you. And folks just ignored it. And so people need to understand, again, what they're saying, why they're saying it. And yes, there are many evangelicals, any very conservative white Christians who are pushing this as well. And you nailed it. They want a holy war. They want a race war. They want this to be a white country. It is clear as day.
And Roland, really important point. Charlie Kirk at only 31, the impact he had because he was one of the most successful pushers of this white Christian nationalistic idea. And so I think that's why all of his defenders are out there so strenuously denying he said anything divisive, because they know if you really go through Charlie Kirk's public record, everything he said about people of color and black women and Muslims and gays and transgenders, if people took the time to go through all of that, and that was put out for average people to see, they'd be blown away by it. That's why his defenders are like supercharged right now. They don't want that record to be seen.
Today, you mentioned, and I mentioned as well, Vice President J.D. Vance sitting in to do his show. And listen to this man just blatantly lie, Joe. Play it.
I read a story in The Nation magazine about my dear friend, Charlie Kirk. Now, The Nation isn't a fringe blog. It's a well-funded, well-respected magazine whose publishing history goes back to the American Civil War. George Soros's Open Society Foundation funds this magazine, as does the Ford Foundation and many other wealthy titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never said anything about black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits.
Bullshit.
Okay, Joe, this is actually what he said.
No, Roland, that's utter bullshit.
In fact, you know, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
All right, Joe. He literally said it. Not only that, Vance lied. Soros does not fund the nation. So he sat there and flat out lied.
And Roland, remind me, What's J.D. Vance's job? He's the vice president, and yet he had time today to do a radio show for a former right-wing podcaster. I mean, look what they're not even rolling. They're not even subtle about it. What this White House is doing. They believe, man, the path to victory is fear, hate, and division. And that's what they're putting out there. That was Charlie Kirk literally going after 4 accomplished black women by saying they didn't have the brain power to get where they got. This is what he believed. And this is what MAGA believes. And that, again, Roland, broken record, that's why Charlie Kirk was so damn successful. Why he had such a big audience.
Yeah, and not only that, you take Nick Fuentes, who's to the right of Charlie Kirk. The night of or the day after Kirk was shot and killed, Fuentes had 200,000 people watching him live. And so what you have this fervor. And so when I listen to Trump and Vance and all these people talk about, how the left, they're indoctrinating. No, and you know this very well, the indoctrination. We've had people who formerly are with Turning Point USA put out videos talking about how it was really this cult-like figure, this messianic figure, as they sort of set Kirk up as, and how they want them to follow that. And so that's what's going on here. These people are not trying to have open dialogue. And not only that, Joe, you take Trump, okay? Trump was very clear in saying he was not going to call Governor Tim Walz after those 4 folks were shot in Minnesota. 2 were killed, including former Speaker of the House and her husband. Now today he's saying, he never even heard of Melissa Hortman, and if the governor had asked him, he would have, of course, lowered the flags to have staff. I'm sorry, he's also lying. He knew about her. He knew about the shooting, but he was so arrogant that he said, 2 Democrats, a Democrat Speaker of the House shot and killed. Yeah, I don't care, but lower the flags to have staff with Charlie Kirk. Flies body on Air Force 2. Do a memorial service at the Kennedy Center. Do another one at the Arizona Cardinals Stadium. Give him the Medal of Freedom. And I'm telling you, they're going to give him a state funeral. That's what you're seeing right now. And then you got Peter Hegseth going after members of the military who said anything negative in the aftermath of his death. You've got Kirk supporters creating a database of people of every social media post, and then even Vance saying in the podcast, you call their employer. So the so-called free speech people all of a sudden are saying, if you say anything negative about Charlie Kirk after what took place last week, we're going to come after you, come after your job. I thought they hated cancel culture, Joe.
Yeah. Roland, I remember back in my right-wing radio days, I would come on every day, and there was always some story about some leftist group on a college campus that couldn't handle speech that made them uncomfortable
to say.
Roland, this is scary, and you and I are old enough, man, to remember huge figures in American history who were gunned down, struck down, military leaders, civil rights leaders. We are treating this 31-year-old podcaster, MAGA influencer, like he's Jesus Christ. So I come from the right. Why are my old colleagues and friends on the right doing this, Roland? Because the right wants a religious war. Let's just call it. They want a civil war. They want a holy war. That's why they're putting him up to be some Jesus-like martyr.
Absolutely. I mean, Glenn Beck literally came out and said he was a civil rights leader. Oh, my God, stop it. Stop it. I've seen people say, I've seen a lot of these videos, I'm leaving my church because my pastor did not mention him. This was a Christian warrior. And let's just be clear. You said it, white Christian nationalists. It's slaveholder religion. We heard a lot of this stuff during slavery, during Jim Crow, things along along those lines. And this whole idea about, oh no, it was about debate. It was about, exchange of ideas. I mean, come on, let's just stop it. And so we see what's going on here. We see the games that are being played. And then what gets me, Joe, is this whole deal of, oh my God, the left, how they indoctrinated him and the accused killer going to a university. The dude was at a university for one semester, Joe. You're trying to tell me that one semester at a mostly white institution in Mormon, Utah, which is not a liberal bastion, somehow just radicalized him? I mean, it really is showing folks of the hand they're trying to play.
Yeah, and I think even on top of that, Roland, I think it was like some technical school. So it wasn't some crazy liberal arts school for a semester. Look, cut through all the BS. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has publicly said that America should be a white Christian country. This is what animates my former party. Roland, you know me, right? Tea Party Hellraiser. I don't come from the left. I left the Republican Party when the Republican Party became MAGA. And my fellow Democrats and folks on the left need to understand, now these people are on the right. Now this is MAGA. MAGA now are the snowflakes. MAGA, Roland, they now need their safe spaces. It's funny, but it's not funny. And you're right about J.D. Vance, man. He just flat out lied. I mean, the last 30-year history of political violence in this country, the vast majority of it is right-wing. It always has been. And they put out this lie that it's only on the left. It's not even, Roland, a both sides problem between the left and the right. There is political violence on the left, but the vast majority is on the right, and they know that, and they're lying because they're trying to inflame their base. And Roland, I hear from their base every day, and let me tell you something, they are inflamed. I mean, they are ready to march and grab their you-know-what. This is a scary time.
It is, and folks need to understand what is certainly at stake. Joe Walsh, I appreciate you joining us on the show.
History of the cross, known by their works. What's the history of the cross? 500-year history of the cross. Murder, rape, destruction, deception, enslavement, burning, terrorizing. To maintain a slavery system, you must terrorize the people 24/7. They terrorize people from Africa and America for 400 years. Constant terror, 24/7, rape, murder. In the name of Jesus. This was Christians, not Buddhists, not Hindus. Christians Christians in the name of Jesus, when they said Jesus cursed black people, they call them Ham, cursed them to be slaves and persecuted forever. In the name of Jesus, raped our women incessantly, pissed in our mouths, made us eat shit. And they took and tried to clean it up, I get, well, not clean it up, but make it look more fashionable, I guess, by calling it chitlins. That's after slavery, of course, after so-called slavery. Because what was endured was not slavery. Look up slavery. Look up slavery. It does include murder, rape, terror. This is a Holocaust. And then now they try to downplay it. Oh, that was 40 years ago. No, it wasn't 40 years ago. I don't care if it was a million years ago. It was 40 years ago. It lasts for 400 years. As they're doing today, they took everything away from the slaves. Everything. Their name, their culture, their families, their religion, their minds, everything. Fed their children to alligators as alligator bait. And then they talk about what's going on in Gaza when they did 1,000 times worse. What's going over in Gaza now is simply just a miniature version of what they did. What they did was far worse than what's going on in Gaza. Gaza's bad. It's genocide. What they did was far worse and much longer. That's the legacy of Christianity. Murder, rape, disease. They wiped out the native population with genocide and disease. Smallpox blankets, knowing they was full with disease. Herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea from sleep with animals. So-called common cold was not common. It didn't exist here on this side of the world until they brought it here. Murder, rape. When they was raping our women, they had a cross hanging from their neck. And again, they taught black, and this was God's will. God's will. The enslavement of our people. And they continue on even today. That's the legacy of Christianity, the cross. So where's your rap sheet? Every time they arrest one of our people, your rap sheet. What's your rap sheet? How are you going to judge people for murder when you're guilty of murder beyond imagination for hundreds of years? Hundreds of years. Theft. You stole this land and murdered its people. And you crushed the native people here. When the braves would go out hunting, you would come into the camps like cowards and kill the women and smash the children's brains out on the hooves of your horses. This is the legacy of Christianity. That's the legacy of it. The question is, if instead of Columbus coming here, Dracula came here, Beelzebub, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Satan, and they all came instead of Columbus, what could they have done that Columbus and those that followed him did? Satan is the God of this world. That's the God they're serving. They have known him by their works. What are the works of Christianity? What are the works of Christianity? Where's the works of Christianity? Evil, deception, mischief, bloodshedding. It goes on today. And what's going on in Gaza, just reflection a microcosm of what was done here in America for hundreds of years. Raped out women incessantly. They would even rape while they was out in the fields picking cotton. They would jump off their horse and tell them to bend over and rape them. And tell them to keep picking cotton while they was doing it. This is the kind of stuff that they would do. Make one slave defecate in the slave in the mouth of another slave, and then bound it up so he couldn't spit it out for 7 days. That's a legacy of slavery. You did it all in the name of Jesus. That's a legacy of slavery. Legacy of slavery. 40 years plus. Legacy of Christianity. Legacy of the cross. That's the legacy. That's the true legacy. So whose works are those? Who are you serving? Who are you serving? Legacy of the cross. Where's your rap sheet, America? Gog? Where's your rap sheet, Magog? Britain? Where's your mayship? Where's your rap sheet? Antichrist, false Israel? Where's your rap sheet? Then they colonized Africa. They're stealing for ripping off everyone. That's the legacy of Christianity. It's been ruling for over 500 years. And now, the threat of nuclear war to finish off everything. That's a legacy of Christianity in the name of your Jesus.
Talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. I sweat. Our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays. where you should be honoring Jesus, you are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house, and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. The heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
That do it back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the horizon, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship, and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. You are now turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel acting such? And even today they are beating and throughout the country. There's no justice here for you and me. Why is it that you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you are free. Remember that.
our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. The heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Put it back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the horizon, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. you and I, turning your face from your on-native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel acting such? And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man said you were free. Remember that.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulman Rahim here, Veteran of Covenant. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's been a year now, and We're finally home after 40 years in Arabia. I'm reporting to you from Arabia. Finally home after 40 years. Right? And so we've been here a year now. When there was an agreement made, a former slave master, he said, we had a choice. Stay here or leave. Right? So we chose our inheritance, Arabia. So we left. And half the original people decided they wanted to give up their inheritance and trade it for a place in America in reconciliation with their former slave master. That's their choice. They chose, said, we don't want to go over to Arabia. We don't go to where it's sand and all that stuff. We want to stay in America. We've been here all our lives, been here 40 years, born here, right? And we can make peace with our slave master. Okay, so they decided to stay. And so after a year, right, we get reports of how things are going over there. And it doesn't sound too good. How things are going over in America with their reparations. Because they was given, they got 6 states, I believe. Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah, they got those 6 states right there. That's what Farra-Con told them. They was listening to Farra-Con. Farra-Con promised them, they stay there, 6 states, right? Had their own land. And they can make reconciliation with the former slave master. They're not devils. They're not devils. They're human beings. They just had a rough, they were just, did some things wrong, but now they're going to make amends and make reparations. So 6 states, and in addition to that, they gave everybody $1 million. Everybody stayed $1 million. Okay? Say, thank you, Farra-Con. They're so happy. Thank you, Farra-Con. Thank you, Farra-Con. Man, you got 6 states. That's what you promised us. We got 6 states. They're thanking you. Thank you, Farra-Con. Right? And this was a year ago. They got the 6 states. Thank you, Farra-Con. Right? Everybody got $1 million. Everybody $1 million. And they're rejoicing. Oh man, they're so happy. Hey, we came, man. We made it. We got America, man. We got reconciliation for a master. We got 6 states. Everybody got $1 million. We're all rich. That was a year ago when we left. Okay, so we're in Arabia. They're still back there in America. And now we're getting reports a year later. This was the way it was a year ago, man. They were so happy. They were so happy. Right? And now we get reports of what's going on right now. Let's see. Oops, it says a power failure. Great power failure in those 6 states. Power failure. And just those 6 states. Right? So, and now they had a big and massive, they came asking to turn the power. Well, why can't they do it? Oh, Farra-Con didn't train anybody. He was telling you about 6 states, he never prepared you for them. So nobody knows how to do it. How to turn the power grid back on. So now he's begging, man, master, can you come and turn this thing back on for us? I mean, you would think that if he told them 6 states and promised them that he would have prepared them for it, right? Their schools and education, whatever they needed for that. But I guess they didn't, because they said over there now he's begging the former master to come and turn the power back on. And then what? I mean, this is all that's happening now. I mean, I'm getting these imports in now. A year later, it's like they're coming in every hour. Power grid failure, right? Then say, oops, crop failure. All of a sudden, there's no. They looked and the farmers, when they done it, farmers said, oh. So then they had master, what's happening here? How come you know, right? Our crop. They found that the land they gave them wasn't that fertile. A year later, nothing's growing. Crop failure. And now they master, what's happening here? Right? And then, I mean, all these things, every hour back's coming in, right? And then they look, you know, and they had, you know, a year ago, they had plenty of food on the shelves, right? And now, they look there now, and all the food's gone. It's gone. And she said, what am I going to do here? Food's gone. The house is empty. So he said, Master, we need some food. Well, how come you can't produce your own food? I mean, you want your own country. You got your own states. That's your country. Then you run it. What are you calling us for? Right? So they've been praying. And then, oops, no fuel. There's Master, no fuel there. Well, you got to buy your fuel. You got to produce your own fuel. What you calling us for? You got your own 6 states now. What you calling us for? Go and get some fuel. You got money, right? You got your own states. So you got to get your own. What you calling us for? You said you wanted your own, so now you got it. And you got your reparation, so we don't owe you anything anymore. We don't owe you anything anymore, so what you calling us for? We don't owe you anything. You said you agreed to 6 states and $1 million per person. You took that instead of your inheritance, what you call the Abrahamic covenant, Arabia. You know, your brothers and sisters, they left, they took that was offered to them, they took it. And you said, no, I want this instead. So now you got it. So what you calling us for? Oh, no communications. Oh, man. No communications, right? No medical facilities. So what's going on, Master? Wait a minute, hold on. That's you. What you calling us for? That's yours. You got to handle that stuff. You want us to handle it for you? You want independence, now you have it. I mean, wow, this stuff was coming every hour, man. Like a year, they was celebrating. And now they crying and begging the Master, hey, look at all these problems here. I said, wait a minute, that's yours. Where'd you come about your problems? You have to work those out. Right? No transportation, I mean, no planes, no nowhere. We don't know about fly the planes and drive the trucks and the boats and stuff and to go and get this stuff. Well, what you done that for? You wanted this, you got it. So go ahead and get to train your own pilots, build your own planes, build your own boats and right? You see what I'm saying? Transportation, build your own trucks. What you calling for? Yeah, Master, we see this. You said you wanted 6 states, you got it. You want $1 million per person. That was the reparations. So then if you didn't pay people to take care of this, how's that our problem? You're independent now. You're really free now. Oops, no fuel, the gas station's empty. I can't drive, eh? And no gas. Man, wow. All this stuff happened like for a year. They thought that everything was great, and all of a sudden everything ran out. So I guess what happened? Everything was there when they got it, and then it ran out. They had to, for them to replace the fuel, to get the farms going. So they was left with that stuff. The factory was full. I mean, warehouses full. Then you had to keep they thought that was just going to, I guess they thought it was just going to be there, just by itself. They didn't prepare for it. See? And they ain't trained any engineers and scientists and architects and stuff. They ain't, business, they didn't train anybody. So Farra-Con, he told you he's going to get this for you, but he didn't prepare you for it. He didn't get anybody to handle this stuff. So what was that all about? So now he asked the master, hey, don't call on me. You was here, you had it when you was here with me. You said you want independence, you wanted reparations, so you gave it to you. Well, call on your brothers over there. They left, they handled their own business. You said you want to stay here. Right? See? You don't have any professionals or technicians, scientists, doctors, none of that. See? I mean, that's what, because I mean, if you're going to set reparation, you should be preparing for that, right? So if he was telling you about reparation, you should be preparing for it. If he said God said that's where he's going to get you, so if God told him he's going to get that for you, then he should, like when God told Noah there was a flood coming, to only build an ark, so he started building an ark. And so you should start preparing for the 6 states and the reparations, but apparently you didn't. And so now, the devil said, look, hold it. We want total separation. I mean, look, we don't want you to call us no more. We don't want you to call us no more. Because you're wearing us. You want your own country. You got your own land. Right? You got money, $1 million, all this stuff, right? And so now we got to protect your money and everything too? No, you have to create your own money. You have to do all these things, your own wealth, not ours. Right? So we're going to cut you off from that too. That's all economics. So they go and tell it. They tell all the people all the white folks, right? Because all the black folks, now all the black folks is either in Arabia or in those 6 states. That's the solution. You had to be one way or the other. There couldn't be no integration, all that kind of stuff. That's the deal. You just said one or the other. So all the black folks are there, ain't no integration, all that kind of stuff, right? Black folks are there, one or the other, so they're there. So they said, okay, right? So they just say, we're going to take our money because we don't know what y'all doing over there. You have your own money, you have to find your own wealth. So what they do is they tell all the white folks, say, protect your money, right? Transfer your money into gold. Transfer all your dollars into gold. Okay. Now remember, they gave everybody $1 million a piece. So everybody got $1 million a piece, right? And so they transfer it to gold. And then what happens is that what they do is they start just printing money. White folks just start printing money. You understand what that means? That's inflation, right? Because if you got $1 million of gold, a million ounces of gold, say $1 million ounces of gold, understand this, and you got 1 million certificates, then you say each certificate is worth 1 ounce. If you got 1 million ounces, each certificate is worth 1 ounce. Understand that? If you got 1 million ounces of gold and you got 1 million certificates, each one of those certificates is worth 1 million. If you want to say trade with the certificates, each one of the certificates is worth 1 ounce of gold, right? But if you take and print, you say you got 1 million ounces of gold and you got 1 million certificates, each one. But say you print twice as many certificates, you got 2 million. Well, then each certificate is only worth 50 cents now, because you got to connect that to the gold. Well, you print 4 times, then each one's worth a quarter. So the more you print, the less they worth, because those certificates have to equal what the gold is. You understand? So the more you print money, the less, right? The less they're worth. So if you print twice as much money, right, there's less gold. You understand? So if $1 is worth 1 ounce of gold, which that's right, then if you print double that amount of dollars, then each one's worth half an ounce. You understand? That's what printing money without increasing their wealth does. That's inflation. So what happens is they keep printing. They get down to where $100 is worth a penny. But see, that doesn't affect their people. They told to protect their money because they transfer their money to gold. So gold still has its value. It's just the dollars don't. It still got the same amount of gold. But the dollars, they get down to a penny. So you can't buy it. You had $1 million, now your $1 million worth of $5. That's all it's worth. Maybe $1. Hardly worth anything. Hey, that's our money. You gotta have your own money, you control your own wealth. You can't keep coming at us what you're doing. And you think they wouldn't do that? Yeah, you've been a Gaza lately? You see what happened to the trees they made with the so-called natives? Kept telling me you had a forked tongue because they kept making trees with them, then they broke the trees. And took their land and genocide and everything else. But no, they wouldn't do that to you. See? Because now you have, your money's worth nothing. They haven't lost anything. Because once that money's worthless, it's no good, right? Then you burn it up, throw it away, it's worth nothing. The people still got gold. And even if they take it, hold on to money, hope to increase again, they're just using a different certificate, using another form of money. So it's still worth nothing. That $1 million you had, you were so happy with it now, it's probably worth maybe $1. So you can't buy anything $1. Plus the economy's collapsed because everything is failing, and you don't know how to repair it. You don't know how to get those communications. You don't know how to do any of this stuff. You don't know how to engineer, build a house. You don't know how to do anything because Farra-Con didn't. Right? He didn't prepare you. He told you he'll give you 6 days. He told you, listen to me, right? So now you're broke, and your economy is gone. You have no food, no electricity, no power, anything, right? It's not their fault. They gave you what you asked for. You still had your inheritance for that. And then they closed the border. Because you're going to try to get back into America now. We want to come back in, Master. No, we don't want you back in here. We sorry, we want to come in. No. That's you chose. You stay there. They closed the border, so you can't get back in here. You can't get back in America, into what you call your land now? Swaziland or something? Farra-Con. Maybe call it Travel-Land. Farra-Con. They met the Farra-Con, right? So they close the borders, you can't. Because now you're hungry and everything else, your money's worthless. Oh God, come back, Master, I'll come back work for you, I'll work for Popeyes, I'll do anything you want. No, remember, now blacks, either they over in Arabia or they in that land. There are no blacks in America, in places, just in that land, that you 6 states. And now you're starving, you ain't got your money's worthless, nothing works, and they close the border. Right? And then you see Master, you on the phone, you talking to the guy that you kept treating, help you. Hey, we finally got rid of niggas. Finally got rid of them. See, on the phone. Yeah, it worked. We sold them no reparations. We sold them that used car. You turned the miles back and everything else, and they bought it. See? They could have had a BMW. They could have had a Lamborghini. They sold that for a BMW that looked good. Damn thing didn't work. And now they're starving, living in tents. Praying. So what? Then what next? What we gonna do, Farra-Con? You told us to take reparations, so we did. But they gave us everything we asked for. What we gonna do, Farra-Con? What we gonna do? Pray. That's his answer. Pray. That's your reparations. Like Elijah Muhammad said, he had a big picture. We leaving, and blacks staying on the shore, the ones stay behind, and they was whooping their ass. Right? Because they thought you think they want to give you some land and take care of you? You think they want to do that? And go bankrupt, give everybody $1 million? How much that is? If it's 17 million, if it's 17 million times 17 million times a million is like $17 trillion, I think, something like that there. Then they're going to do all that for you. They want to get rid of you. So now they have succeeded. Because they closed the border. And what you going to do? You want to fight to come out? They closed the border. They got the military around there. They finally got rid of you. No more black problem, no more Negro problem anymore. One group's out of here, another group that's here. They're gone, and our hands are clean. We gave them what they wanted. Well, anything. Okay. God honors contracts. Remember, he honored the contract with Jacob. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of soup to Jacob, when it was Esau's inheritance, and God honored it. Okay, Jacob, it's yours. You're the one. And that's the deal. Because he ain't your friend. Farra-Con ain't your friend. Pray, pray, pray. That's the answer. And this homeland you was promised, you rejected it. So now you got what you asked for. So if they gave you reparations today or tomorrow, how would that scenario not play out like that? Well, they say, okay, you got it. Tell me how the scenario wouldn't play out like that. And tell me why they wouldn't do it. They love you so much, they're going to say, okay, we're going to take care of them. I mean, why should they go out their way to take care of you when you was right here? You was working at Popeyes and living in the get up on Section 8, all that stuff right here where they... Because they're trying to get rid of stuff right now. Trump's trying to get all that stuff right now. Because they're closing on you, you don't realize it. Anyway, that's just, that's what's happening over in America. Wow. Boys, come here. Disaster over there. And, oh, I just got a call. Oh, wait, hold on. Really? You serious? Our ambassador just got a call from I don't know what they call it. We call it Conland or something. I forgot what it is. Something name to call it right there. That 6th day. They begged us to come and help. Can they come over here? Can we come and get them? Really? Can we come and get them and bring them? Oh no. Now he went and asked Master Farra Muhammad, right? He said, no, hell no. We ain't going to get them. And I agree with that. Yeah, the Master said he said, let's call him, and he passed the word to Master Farra Muhammad. Master Farra Muhammad said, send him back. Master, no, we can't come and get you. You made your choice, live with it. Or die, whatever the situation is. Wow. I can't believe that. They actually, right, sent a message over. I don't know how they did. I don't have any communication with it. Somehow they got the information over to him. Said, would we please come and get him? Nope. Said, no, tell him no. And don't waste time communicating with us anymore. You got your land, you got your reparations, you got your money, you got Farra-Con as your leader. Yeah, tell him, talk to him, let him straighten out for you. He didn't want to sell you the idea. He was a salesman. So you on that idea of reparations. We told you. Right? Suleiman, right? He was the messenger till you told him, look, man, let's go home. You said no. You chose not to. Okay, bro, since that's a sad story. But I guess that's it. Is that it? Oh, they're not getting more reports on Okay, he says that was Matthew Prophet Muhammad's final decision, and I think they closed communications off from there. So, like I said, brothers and sisters, we got those guys that came in. All that came in today, man. I came in fast. After a whole year. Total collapse. Now they're begging it. Somebody help them. We can't do it. Maybe Master help you. We won't do it. Assalamu alaikum. Update, brothers and sisters, got another late report in that they said, well, if you want to come and get us, we at least send them some food. They begged, said, please send them some food. Master Muhammad said, we got to send them a damn thing, nothing, zero. He said, please just send some food. No, I just got that in. He says, if you can't come and get us, please send some food. He says, no. He refused. That's what, boy, I just got the information from the ambassador. He said, they sent that, and he's read to me. He says, no. He said, please, just please send us some food. He said, no way. You made your choice, case closed. Okay, just got that in, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.